Welcome to Come Back with Erica Cobb, a community of folks like yourselves who are getting ready and staying ready for their next chapter. Now, my guest today, I am so excited about because, quite frankly, when he comes in the room, everyone gets just a little bit more amped and a lot more positive. It's Dr. Delatorro McNeal, who is a peak performance expert, and he has advice for anyone who is looking to make their comeback, giving you advice for if you're in your setback season, and he's just an overall great human. So Dr. Delatorro, thank you so much for being here today.
Yay, it's an honor indeed, Erica. I'm so grateful to be here.
I appreciate you so much. Anytime we get the opportunity to speak with you, there's always a smile on all of our faces.
Oh.
It changes the room, and that's why it was so important for you to speak to my comeback community today.
Yay,
yes,
yay.
Because this has been a very transitional time in the universe.
Absolutely.
And people are feeling, maybe a little bit lost. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're feeling like they're not on the path that they need to be at. So what does rock bottom mean to you if someone's out there thinking like, is this my rock bottom? What does that feel like?
Right. Well, first of all, we have to understand something. Change psychologically feels like loss to the brain. Psychologists, therapists agree with this because we have a psychological human need for certainty. We have a need to be able to know that certain things are the way they are.
Yeah.
So, and that's how the brain functions, right? So like when we sat on this couch, you didn't guess whether the couch would support you. You knew that, right? There's certain things that we just know, right? Our brain is, so anytime there's a change or a shift in something, it's a shift in our certainty, what we're used to, what we're accustomed to. But the truth is, everything that we want in life and business is on the other side of what's comfortable, and it's on the other side of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So we have to look at these opportunities, these rock bottom moments that we all encounter in life and business. Listen, pain, adversity, and hardship knows no race, knows no culture, knows no zip code. It impacts everyone. And the worst thing that we can do when we're going through hard times is compare our hard time to somebody else's hard time.
Yes.
I hear this all the time, Erica. They say, oh, well, you just went through a divorce, but guess what? I got laid off. Well, as if one is worse than the other.
Exactly.
They're all pain. It's all hardship. It's all challenge. And it's how we process the adversity that happens in our life, Erica, that determines how we come back from our setbacks.
Didn't I tell y'all? I warned you, okay? Because I know that you are sitting in your car. You're at your desk right now. You're like, I didn't know that I was going to get this hype right now. I tried to tell you.
We're coming for you.
So many things to follow up for that. First of all, when we talk about rock bottom, and you said, everyone goes through rock bottom, it's what's on the other side.
Right.
It's a very weird juxtaposition for me because as someone who's been very open about my setback season,
Yes, ma'am.
I was, in a lot of senses, this is going to sound common based on some conversations we had previously, relieved for my setback season.
Yes.
I knew that when I was going through my divorce, bankruptcy, and unemployment all at the same time, that my life was about to begin.
Yeah.
I just knew it.
Yeah.
And although I was like definitely the pity case for a lot of my friends and family who were like, oh, look how the mighty have fallen.
Right.
I was in such a sense and steady state of joy.
Come on.
Because I knew that I was being rid of all of the toxic energy, relationships, circumstances, and I now had a choice.
Come on.
So when you say that, I know a lot of people won't understand that, like, everything is happening on the other end of the setback, but or rock bottom. But when you think about it that way,
right,
it changes everything.
And the Temptations said this when they were at their rock bottom. They said, listen, the only place we can go when we're at the rock bottom is up.
Right.
Right?
Right.
There is no other. I can't go any lower than this. So, and Erica, this is powerful. Think about it. If you want an arrow to go far, what do you got to do? You got to pull it back.
Yeah.
Right? If you want to go higher in a trampoline, what do you got to go? You got to go deeper.
Yes.
Right? Skyscrapers. If you want to build a skyscraper, you got to dig a deep, low foundation for it. So life oftentimes gives us setbacks to set us up for comebacks.
Yeah.
But if you don't process your setback season correctly, you'll stay there and you'll stay in a circle. One of my good mentors and dear friends is a gentleman by the name of Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith.
Okay.
And he taught me something powerful. He's the spiritual leader of the Agape Center in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things he said is that we can live 100 years or we can live 1 year 100 times. And his lesson was this. Most of us think that, okay, cool, if I live 100 years, I lived a long, full life, right? Which is great, dope. But that's actually only longevity. If you live 100 years, but you lived the same year 100 times, you never lived. Because all you did was recycle the same friendships, same relationships, same mindset, same money, right? Same paradigms, same knowledge, information, insight, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So are we living fully, or are we just recycling the same foolishness year after year after year? So one of the greatest things that I've learned, Erica, in my setback seasons is that the greatest athletes become better in the off season.
Yeah.
See, your setback is really your off season. And what you have to learn how to do is appreciate and value your off season, because it's in the off season for athletes when they get stronger, Erica.
Yes.
When they get faster, when their jump shot improves, when their three-point shot improves. That happens in the off season. Because when you're doing and you're making things happen, see, when you succeed, you coast. But when you struggle and you fail, you ponder. And Erica, it's in the pondering where we come up with a better way.
I'm going to add something else. I love it. I'm going to
Yeah.
add something else that happens in the off season. You aren't in the spotlight.
That part.
Not as many people are watching you because they're not expecting for you
Exactly.
to perform.
Exactly.
And that solitude gives
on.
you so much time to rejuvenate.
Come on.
But what happens a lot of times is, and I know I've known it for myself in my past life.
All right. My past.
Not where I am currently.
I understand.
But there is this need when you should be in your off season to put on your greatest performance
Right.
for everyone else, because you want to make the world know that you still got it.
You want them to think it.
You
Exactly.
still doing
that
something.
That part. Absolutely.
And really, you're quite feeble.
That part. Exactly.
And
You hurt.
depleted.
Right. Yeah. You ain't got nothing left. Like, what the world, right?
Exactly.
And I think it's important that we are honest and transparent, because here's the truth. People can relate more to your failure than they can
Yes.
to your success.
Yes.
If I go online and I post about how successful I did this incredible speaking engagement, or I did this incredible appearance on DBL, or I did this incredible thing for the Today Show, or I did this great gig or whatever, yeah, you get some. But if I talk about hardship, breakups, divorce, like you said, stuff like bankruptcy, whatever, oh my, right?
Yeah.
Because most people can identify more with, that's why I always say this, Eric. I say, never let people celebrate your glory till they fully understand your story. Never let anybody celebrate your glory until they understand your
Or
story.
hate you for it.
That part.
Don't hate me for my glory when you don't know my
When you
story.
don't know the story. Come on.
Those are words I live by. I live
Yes.
by it because
Yes.
I extend that grace to other people.
Yeah.
Especially because with my platform, sometimes I don't receive that type of grace.
Come on.
So no, I appreciate that.
And you know, there was a quote I heard a long time ago that said this. It's important that we understand that life is not about waiting for the storms to pass. Mm-hmm. It's really about learning how to dance in the rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
I live in Florida, right? So in Florida, it rains a lot. And sometimes it rains sideways. So it's like an umbrella does not help at all, right? And I've learned something. It only rains for a little bit. And at some point, the sun has to, it is a law that the sun has to come out again. So my friend, I don't know where you are in your situation, but I need you to understand something. It cannot rain all the time. There are better days coming. There are brighter days coming. And watch this. Even in your dark, challenging setback season, there are lessons to be learned. There is no such thing, Erica, in my humble opinion, as failure. I believe that failure is really feedback. For example, if we're playing basketball, right, and I take a shot and I miss, what does my body, or you take a shot and you miss, what does your body, your physiology automatically do without you thinking?
Go to take another shot.
Go grab the ball, dribble, And then you what? I said juggle, dribble, right? And then you what? You automatically, instinctively take another shot.
Yeah.
You don't say, oh, let me sit down and just quit and go home, right? When a baby is learning to walk, Erica, and she takes those first, or he or she takes those first couple steps, and then they automatically fall, do you see mom, dad, uncle, aunt say, oh, baby, just stay down there?
Yeah.
No, we say what? Get back up again.
Yeah.
But as adults, we fall in business, in love, in money, in relationships, and we stay down.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Because
stay stuck in the setback. And then, watch this, Erica. If we're going to go there, let's go there. Not only do we stay stuck in the setback, but we then program everyone around us to pacify us staying in that disadvantaged position.
Yes. Of course.
Because as long as it's called, in psychology, it's called secondary gain.
Okay.
Secondary gain is a psychological phenomenon that basically says that when have you ever known someone who stayed in a bad relationship way longer than they needed to, right? Bad career way longer than, right? Because most people prefer known hell rather than unknown heaven.
Yes.
Why? Because of secondary gain. So the question you got to ask yourself is, what gain are you getting out of staying in a disadvantaged position? Because that's what secondary gain is. It's some benefit that I'm receiving from remaining in a disadvantaged position. So let's talk about...
Well, Dr. Delatorro, I mean, we can be honest, but let's not make people really reflect on themselves.
That's a crime.
That's a lot to ask.
So you're in an abusive relationship, but the guy is popular. So you like the popularity that you receive from staying with this person that's beating you behind closed doors. So the secondary gain of the popularity that you receive allows you to stay in a situation that's toxic to your life. That's one example of secondary gain. Have you ever had a kid who gets to take a couple of days off of school because they're sick, and they get a chance to watch the movies and eat the ice cream and everybody's doting on them? They will delay their healing.
Yes.
Why? Because I'm getting some advantage out of remaining in a disadvantaged position. So we have to recognize secondary gain and say, you know what? I don't need, I can get the benefits without staying in a disadvantaged position.
Yeah.
And we have to get rid of self-pity. And instead of being self-pity about our situation, shift to self-care.
Yeah. I think...
I know there's a lot there.
Wow. First of all, you're listening to Come Back with Erica Cobb. We're speaking with Dr. Delatorro McNeal, who is a peak performance expert. And we are in church today. We are in peak performance church, okay?
We're in comeback church. That's where we're at. Let's get it.
I didn't tell y'all that we were actually talking about the off season. We are in training. This is boot camp for the rest of your life.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
I resonate with so much that you have said, because I think for me, it's almost become like a little PTSD based on what happened during my setback season.
Yes, ma'am.
And when I was going through the hardest times in my life and I had the least value for myself, I had no direction. And now that I've made it to the other side of it, so much of my life is about anticipating the need or anticipating something happening to the point where I fear I'm not present a lot. So when we say that, I just want to be like mindful that some of us go in such the opposite direction that I'm always thinking about, what's next. Like, for instance, obviously my daytime talk show, Daily Blast Live, has sunsetted after 7 years.
Right.
And I'm now thinking, like, how much of that 7 years did I miss because I was getting prepared for it to be over the entire time. But on the other hand, by doing that, I was prepared, and I was set up for my next chapter.
Absolutely.
So how do we avoid, or how do we do the thing where we are anticipating that there's something that we need to fill our cups with in order to get us to the next chapter, but staying present?
So this reminds me of the law of duality. The law of duality states, as long as there's left, there is right. As long as there's up, there is down. As long as there is east, there is west. As long as there is sunrise, there is sunset. So we can do both at the same time. We were raised, Erica, in a culture that says either or. And we don't celebrate both and. And so the truth is you can be present and preparing at the same time. I'm going to say that again. You can be present and preparing at the same time.
Yeah.
Because Deepak Chopra taught me something a long time ago. He said the past is a thief, but so is the future. The past is a thief because we're constantly focusing on the mistakes we made yesterday, the failures, the hardships, the disappointments, the things that didn't go right. The future is also a thief because we're constantly setting goals, and once I get this, and once I achieve that, and once I have this, and once I have that. So we delay happiness to a future date.
Yeah.
So if the past is constantly haunting us from the mistakes we made, and the future is constantly making us delay getting there, where's the present? We don't get a chance to enjoy the present.
That gave me a little bit of anxiety. I'm like, I do think about the past and how I could have done that differently. And I'm definitely thinking about the future because I don't want to repeat the past. So now I'm just like in this, I am in a duality spiral.
Vortex, right. You're like, what the heck's going on, right? So,
Yes.
so my therapist taught me this. She said, I want you to, when you feel like you're in that place and you're caught between what happened yesterday and what's supposed to happen tomorrow, and you can't feel like you can live in today in this moment, she said, close your eyes, put your hand over your heart, and she said, say this to yourself, only this moment. And she said, say that to yourself 10 times, only this moment. And what it helps you to realize is that in this moment, right now, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't have everything I want, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? Because we have to forgive. We talk about forgiveness a lot, which is powerful. And most times we talk about forgiveness of other people. And I think we as high achievers have to learn how to really forgive ourselves.
I mean,
Because we are masters. We dress up great, right?
Yeah.
But if we take this stuff off, we got whelps on our back because we all beat ourselves up so much.
Yeah.
I want to say this to someone. Listen, there was no school that taught you how to have a successful relationship. So let's just take relationships for a quick example, right? If you're experiencing a breakup or you experienced a divorce or things didn't go the way you planned, stop beating yourself up for it. It's a lesson that you learned. Because guess what? In elementary school, did you take a course on love and relationships? In high school, did you take it? What about college? Absolutely not. We don't learn about love and relationships. We don't learn about money and finance. We don't learn about all this stuff until you go through the school of hard knocks.
yeah.
But then we beat ourselves up for not already knowing.
Yeah.
You learn through experience. You learn through trial and error. You're going to kiss a few frogs on the way to your next season. I know what it's like, Erica. I've been a full-time speaker for 21 years. But I know what it's like to get laid off after I left Florida State University. I had a bachelor's and master's degree. I had a nice $60,000 a year salary working for corporate America, and I was working for one of the big 5 consulting firms. Yeah. So I had the Amex, I had the Diners Club card, I was traveling. It was great. And then 1 year into that company, I got laid off, and I went from 60 grand to nothing in one day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the heck am I going to do? I had just bought a new house, and now I can't afford this new house because I don't have the salary to. I wasn't prepared, Erica. So I didn't have a full speaking career that I could just jump out on.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden I got a pre-foreclosure on my credit, and I'm 22 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do career-wise. I'm trying to figure out what my next level is. And I'm like, and my mentors, they said, listen, and I said, my mentors, so one of the fastest ways for you to experience a comeback from your setback is to find someone who is doing what it is that you want to do and do whatever it takes to surround yourself with them and begin to model success. Because success leaves clues. We just got to go find them.
Out. Hello. It's me. So
Is
earlier,
this making sense?
no, it makes total sense. It makes total sense.
What's moving through you right now, sis?
Well, earlier this year, I took a clip, and obviously on the talk show, you're speaking in a little bit longer of a format. Sure. But if you take a clip and put it on social media, people are just gravitating to what you said in like that 30 seconds.
Correct.
And the clip was about collaboration versus competition. And I said that people at the top collaborate, people at the bottom compete. And basically, you have to learn how to leverage opportunities and for the collective. So that went viral, and people had a lot. Well, I'm like, I don't know if viral is always a great thing. It definitely gets you out there, but to a lot of people who need to hear it, and to some people you don't need to hear from.
That part.
But yeah, so it started these conversations, and I was very confused for a while because I'm like, I don't see why that's controversial.
Right.
Like, what's so controversial about what I said?
Right.
And what I realized is at the root of why that was on my heart that day is that I am a very collaborative person.
Yes, ma'am.
And sometimes when you're a collaborative person and you interact or intersect with people who are competitive, then it becomes less about leveraging your talents for the collective.
Correct.
And more about a snake only sheds its skin to become a bigger snake.
That part.
And I realized a lot of people who had pushback had experienced the same pain of finding that out the hard way that I had experienced.
Right.
And what you're saying about surrounding yourself with people who are, breeding success, doing the things that you want to do.
Right.
I find that very inspirational.
Yes, ma'am.
I find it to be something that as a growing person, I need to continue to thrive. But I also know that it's a hotbed for opportunism.
Right.
And I think that's the reason why people are so shy away from or are reluctant to make those types of relationships and do those types of things.
The antithesis to that, though, is I stay in my solitude, I stay isolated, and I stay in my setback season 10 times longer than was necessary.
Yeah.
Right? So I hear what you're saying, and it makes perfect sense. I just think that we have to make a decision. Okay, I say this all the time, Erica. You're going to fail on the way to something big. You're going to fail on the way to something small. Mm-hmm. Failure is an automatic part of success. You got to decide which outcome do you want.
Yeah.
And if I want a big outcome, I'm going to go down this road, and I'm not going to go down the road of failure and adversity and hardship over a small outcome.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I love that. I love that. You're going to experience it either way.
You are going to experience setbacks in either direction. So it becomes important. It behooves us to really say, okay, cool. I'm going to say, listen, Eric, I've been in multiple setback seasons in my life. Even right now, my father's been in the hospital for over a year. He's a disabled veteran, right? I'm dealing with a very unfair court case right now that everybody that's in my ecosystem is pissed that someone as amazing as I am as a father to my daughters would have to go through some of the things that I'm going through right now, right? Tyler Perry can't even write this stuff. Yeah. But when you're successful, right, the brighter the lights, the more bugs you attract, right? So I understand what it's like to have to go through challenging, hard, difficult times. When the pandemic hit, I'm a speaker. I travel. I go to gigs. Everything shut down. So I had to do everything remotely, kind of like how you were talking about, right? So I know what it's like to have to deal with challenges and setbacks and difficult times. And what I've realized is that this setback, my mentor, Dr. Willie Jolly, it's his favorite phrase. He wrote a whole best-selling book about it. This setback is nothing but a setup for my comeback. And when I come back, I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be faster. I'm going to be better. There is some lesson to be learned in this, right? And we don't understand it in the beginning, and it's okay. And that's how that's why we have to shift to, and we talk about this in the book, we have to shift from, Erica, if we want to have a better comeback season, we have to shift from all these things that are happening. Most of us process it as it's happening to me.
Yes.
And if I process it as the layoff, the divorce, the bankruptcy, the lawsuit, the case, whatever, if I process it as it's happening to me, I get to be the victim.
Right.
The problem with being the victim is that you don't have any power.
Right.
Because you're always at the effect of some other cause.
Yes.
A cause that's outside of your control. But the moment you shift from this is happening to me to this is somehow happening for me. And Erica, I have chill bumps as I'm having this conversation with you because I know with mathematical exactitude that this is happening for me. And I've been walking through this season for like the last year. And some of the biggest doors in my career have opened up.
Isn't that crazy?
In the middle of some of the worst.
Every time.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I know.
When
I know.
When the mother eagle knows that her babies are ready to fly, she purposely puts thorny branches in the nest to make the nest extremely uncomfortable. And if the babies don't get the hint from the prickly, thorny nest that used to be super comfortable, guess what that mother eagle does? I use metaphors. I teach in metaphors. I love teaching people about life through metaphors, and I love using nature, and I love using movies, and anything that people can relate to. If that mother eagle, if that baby eagle says, okay, I'm going to stay here, even in this discomfort, I'm going to stay here. I'm not going to go out there and fly. I'm going to stay in this discomfort because I want to be close to mama.
Yeah.
That mother eagle will take that baby by the talons, take it to the nearest cliff, and drop it. And when that mother eagle drops that baby, the eaglet can only do what it knows how to do innately, and that's begin to flap its wings.
Yeah.
And that's when it learns how to fly. So sometimes in life and business, the setback, the challenge, is literally life's way of saying you're ready to fly.
Yes. Lord, there's so much, because when you think about peak performance,
Yes, ma'am.
and how you are training for this in some capacity, even though we don't think about
And
it.
we don't call it that, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly is. I think about, oh gosh, I mean, there's so much intersectionality. There's so many similarities that I feel I don't even, right now I'm like, I don't even know where to start, because I was like, wait, I have something to say about this, or wait, I have something to say about that. When you made the metaphor about the eagle, I was going, oh man,
The nest, you talk about the thorny branches in the nest?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I had a point, and I lost my point.
It's all good. It's all good.
like,
But
oh
see,
my gosh.
but Erica, the problem is we don't process the thorny branches.
Yeah.
And a friend who was a friend for years, all of a sudden turning their back on you, that's a thorny branch.
Ooh.
Right?
Yes.
Right? A relationship not working out, right?
Yeah.
Going through a divorce, that's a thorny branch, right? All of a sudden, things that you were able to bank on and rely on, I was able to rely on the stream of income. Now, all of a sudden, that brook dried up. That is another thorny branch.
Yes.
These are all signposts that you're ready for another season.
Yeah, okay. So what I was thinking about.
Did that help?
Yes, it did, and I do appreciate that.
I got you.
Jog my memory.
Got you.
I describe when you're going through the different things in my personal setback season. The way I would describe it is, I knew that first knock on the door. It was a very faint knock, but I knew that faint knock meant that I needed to move, and I didn't move. And then, and I just thought, well, the knocking will stop. And then it became like a doorbell. And I was like, oh, well, I just won't answer that door.
There you go.
And then it became a banging on the door. And I was like, they'll go away eventually.
Yeah.
And then someone came in with an actual, like ram the door open. And then they didn't just stop by ramming the door open. Then they torched the house.
Jesus.
And then the house caught on fire and was engulfed in flames.
Wow.
And there wasn't a single piece of the house left. It was just ashes at the end.
Wow.
And I just thought, well, why couldn't I have done something when it was like a really loud knock,
Right.
or when the doorbell rang, or even that faint knock? Like, that faint knock sounds a lot louder now.
That part.
That I'm standing in the middle of the rubble.
Right.
But then the way that I processed it when I got to the other side, so to speak, or in my comeback season, was that I wasn't supposed to live in that house.
That part.
Like, that house was not mine.
Exactly.
And
It was a necessary ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am grateful for it.
Right.
I really am.
Because had the house not burned down, Erica, guess what you would have done? You would have went to Home Depot and you would have got some better tile. You would have got some better wallpaper. You would have continued to improve something that does not need to exist, period.
Exactly.
And we're
something
great.
I never owned.
That part. We're great at making something that doesn't even need to belong more efficient.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Rather than just letting it go.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about, thinking outside the box. I teach burn the box. Because thinking outside the box still confines you to the box. Because if I was to ask you, okay, Erica, think outside of this box. This, right? Every time you think a thought, you still have to consult the box to make sure that the thought is outside of it. But if I say get rid of the box, you start with what's called zero-based thinking. You don't get the iPod by improving on the Walkman. And most of us are constantly simply improving on things that currently exist versus starting with zero-based thinking and saying, okay, boom, let me create something brand new that's never happened before.
Yeah.
And maybe this setback is saying to your life, it's time for me to do something completely different. It's time to go in a completely different direction. The brook is dried up. God's going to feed you elsewhere. And when that happens, we have to be able to pay attention to the knocking, right? To the doorbell, to all these other signs that something massive is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a topic I'd like to address with you because the last time we spoke with you on Daily Blast Live, you talked about friendship and how your friends aren't your therapists.
Woo! That was so...
Child, because I always tell people, like, for a comeback, you need a community.
Yes.
So whether that community is your family, whether it's friends, if your setback season had to do with your family and friends and you don't feel like there's someone that you can trust, there's always going to be someone.
Right.
So how, especially, because let's be honest, when you're in a setback season, you're in a very vulnerable.
Absolutely.
The most predatorial people that I have experienced in my life came to me
in your dark season,
in my darkest season.
Wow.
And I think that that's very common. I see it in abusive relationships. I see it in unsupported, unbalanced friendships.
That's right.
So how do you avoid, especially in a vulnerable time, not being a person who's susceptible to predatorial relationships?
I think it's vitally important, number one, that you keep, keyword, keep a deep bench of amazing people in your life and feed those relationships when you don't need them. For example, Erica, one of the things that I do is, for no reason at all, I will text a very, very influential friend of mine and just say, hey, listen, I'm just checking on you. I don't want or need anything.
Yeah.
I just want you to know I love you. Lord laid you on my heart, so I just wanted to touch base, check in, see how you were doing. And I'm planting seeds. Now, I might not need that actual person to do anything for me for a year. But when I do ask, or when I do go through a hard time, I can reach out to that person and say, hey, I need X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And they're running, sprinting to my aid. Why? Because I had put deposits in. You cannot ask for withdrawals where there's been no deposits.
Yeah.
So I think that part of the key to this is nurturing your relationships when you don't need anything from people. And I think we're so accustomed to just kind of like transactional relationships, and we don't understand the importance of transformational relationships.
Yeah.
And so to minimize the predatory energy that comes into our lives when we go through hardship, I think it's important that we keep a deep bench around us.
Yeah.
So when hardship hits my life, the first thing I do is I reach out to mentor. I believe I teach this in the book, Chapter 8, Shift Your Posse, because who you ride with matters. Chapter 8 of Shift into a Higher Gear. I teach this. There are only 3 kinds of people you need to have in your life. That's it. 3 kinds. And if you have 800 people in your phone, I should be able to categorize those 800 people in your phone into 3 categories. You should have mentors in your life, people who are further down the road that you are, who can call back to you and say, hey, look out for what's coming. That's a mentor, someone you admire, you respect, you appreciate. Second person is mates, people who are on the journey with you, like your cast members, right? We're on this journey together. We're doing this thing. Yeah. We're figuring it out. We have some of the same challenges, but we also have some of the same victories. And we get a chance to enjoy some of the same colleagues and peers that we connect with, right? Right? These are people we can go tubing with and rafting with and vacations with and what, right? Those are mates. And then you have mentees. Mentees are the people that you get to pour your failures and the lessons you learn from those failures into. Because sometimes, Erica, the setback that we experience has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with who's coming behind us.
Yeah.
But if you don't process the adversity correctly, you'll think it's all about you.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. And here's something that we also very seldom talk about is understanding who is in that category and them understanding a mutual understanding of where you fall in each other's lives. Because I do think that often we get it twisted. We will have someone in our lives who believes that they're a peer, and we treat them as a peer, but truly they are a mentee.
That's right. That's right.
And it's, I think it's detrimental to both people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because we have to be honest about who we are and where we are.
And what value we bring
Exactly.
to the table. Erica, what you're talking about reminds me of bartering. And I stopped bartering probably about 15 years ago in my career. Because what people would come up to me and say, oh, hey, I can help you with this in your business. And I know I want to do this that you have going on. So can I come to your training, which costs this, but I'll do this? And well, first of all, if we barter that, first of all, what I'm offering, I know is platinum value.
Yeah.
Your stuff is all right,
Yeah.
but it ain't platinum, right? So, and after doing enough of those transactions where I was getting the short end of the
Yes.
stick, because I was over-delivering, because over-delivering is a core value of mine.
Yeah.
I believe in doing more than I'm paid for. I believe in giving more than I receive. And I had to learn the hard way that even that, can be detrimental. So I had to say, okay, you know what? I'm done with over-delivering for people who don't over-deliver back. Now I'm going to match energy.
Yes.
So if you come 2 feet, all you're going to get is 2 feet from me. I'm not going to come 80% of the way, and you only got to come 20. And I think what we have to learn is, especially those of us who are big givers, we have to remember this, Erica. Leeches don't have boundaries. That part. When was the last time a leech sucked on your thigh and said, you know what? I took enough blood from you. I'm so sorry. When was the last time a mosquito bit you, started pulling life source from you and said, you know what? This is unfair to her. Leeches don't have boundaries. So we must.
Dr. Delatorro, can we do a part 2?
Yes, the answer is yes. You got to bring me back when we do one of those live in person studio audience joints.
Yes,
Child,
absolutely.
It would be ridiculous.
Absolutely. I first of all, I have such a tremendous amount of respect for you. You are not only a testimony teacher, but you are a catalyst of change, and it's so important to have people like you, but also who and what you represent makes it even more important to our community and our culture.
Thank you.
To see you.
Oh, amen.
And I just want you to know how much I appreciate you and your time, spending a little bit of time with us on Come Back with Erica Cobb. I definitely want to do another sit down, and yes, let's figure out, because, you know, I was telling you, Comeback TV presents
That's
as a
right.
full-blown production
That
company.
part. Hello,
Yes,
right? And I've
yes.
seen what you do with live audiences. I've seen your episodes. They're fire, girl.
Thank you.
So let's
you.
bring Denver together and let's shut the building down.
They
would not be ready for that.
Yeah, they really wouldn't.
They will not be ready.
They really would, and they won't.
Right, that
But
part.
they better get
You better
ready,
get
because
ready,
it is
right?
coming. Dr. Delatorro McNeal's book, Shift into Higher Gear, is available everywhere where books are sold. Dr. Delatorro is a peak performance expert, a brilliant public speaker, and an even more amazing human. Dr. Delatorro, tell us where we can follow you, all the things.
Fantastic. We're at Dr. Delatorro on all social media. That's at Dr. Delatorro on all of our social media. We have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Delatorro. Our primary website is drdelatorro.com. So find us, connect with us, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, you name it. We're everywhere. Just type in Delatorro, Delatorro. The internet will do the rest. Everything's right there, right? We're extremely Googleable, and we'd love to connect with you. We've written 8 books. We have stuff on Audible. We've got stuff on Amazon. We do events. We do programs. So I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for platforms like this. I'm grateful for who you are, Erica, what you represent, and I'm excited about everybody experiencing their comeback season, because we all deserve that. And let me just say this in closing. I learned this from a mentor a long time ago, Erica. There's only 3 places you can be in life. Either you're in a storm, you just left one, or you're heading towards one. So it's vitally important that we live a life that allows us to understand that I am who I am regardless of what I'm going through. So something we talked about earlier in the show, even though I've been dealing with some hardships in 2024, and I know a lot of people who have said to me energetically, even metaphysically, that 2024 has been a tough year in a lot of ways. I live a life in such a way that you don't know everything I'm going through because I've learned how to be battle tested.
Yeah.
I've learned that, okay, cool. If I'm experiencing 4 and 5 challenges all at the same time, oh my God, that means I'm getting ready to go to a whole nother planet of success.
It's about to be lit.
Right. It's about, and you got to stay around people who continue to remind you of that, right? Mentors, friends, significant others, booze, it's complicated, whatever, right? Surround yourself with people who will continue to say, you're coming out of this.
Yeah.
This isn't over. This is a comma, not a period. Right? Or I got laid off. Period is the end of the sentence.
Yeah.
I got laid off, comma, I started a business, and then I went and bought the company that laid me off. Come on. That's the real comeback up in this hush puppy. And I actually know people who have done that, who have gotten laid off from companies, built their own entrepreneurial business, and then came back and bought the company that laid them off.
It's quite the concept. I look forward to having that type of testimony.
It's going to happen for you, yes.
Yes, Dr. Delatorro, thank you. I am linking all of your information, your books on our show notes.
Thank you.
Please come back and see us again. I will make it happen even if I have to physically make the event. Honestly, y'all, check out Dr. Delatorro. And as always, you can go to my online home, comeback.tv, for all the information and to follow us there. Thank you so much.
Remarkable honor. Thank
Appreciate you.
you. Yay. Much love.